Would there be a sleeper pick for the San Antonio Spurs in the draft?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs, the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Happy Monday, everybody. Glad to see y'all are doing okay. And thanks for subscribing to Locked On Spurs, wherever you get your favorite podcast, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. The list goes on and on. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use that code, all lowercase, LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Hey, what are we talking about today? We're going to go over some quick Spurs news that you may have missed, and then bring in our guest, Rudy Campos from Swoop the League. Apparently, there's a sleeper pick that perhaps the Spurs can take a look at. Tidjane Salaun, I think I'm pronouncing that right. You French listeners, please correct me. We're going to be discussing him as a sleeper pick for the Spurs, and then get to some of your thoughts, your fan comments you're leaving at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. But first, some Spurs news and notes that you may have missed. The Las Vegas sports betting makers, they have, apparently everybody's coming to San Antonio, but in their recent odds of players coming to San Antonio involve Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, two Cavs players. Donovan Mitchell is considered to be heading to San Antonio. According to the Vegas odds makers, they have the Spurs at the fifth best odds. There we go, at landing Donovan Mitchell if he doesn't stay in Cleveland. But apparently, when it comes to Darius Garland, Vegas odds makers say the Spurs are at the top of the list to land Garland. Now, I think that would be a fantastic deal if the Spurs were to get Garland to come to San Antonio. That would probably be a big package for that to happen. Garland does fit the need, point guard, dynamic, young, explosive, create his own shot, all that good stuff the Spurs need. But how much does Cleveland want for that? And as far as Donovan Mitchell, yeah, get another dynamic scorer and everything, veteran all-star. But again, for me, it's the asking price. Are they going to try to stick it to the Spurs? But Vegas thinks the Spurs are in contention to land one of those two players. You read that and more over at kensfi.com/Spurs. In other Spurs news, Keldon Johnson had himself a good experience out in Laredo, Texas. He held a meet and greet and a basketball camp this past weekend. They signed some foot autographs. He was, meeting up with the fans in the Valley, the Laredo. Camp was a success, and leads into the third news and notes here. Is I had a chance to talk to Keldon Johnson at the end of last season. We talked about how the offseason opportunity for him to inspire the next generation of basketball players via his basketball camp. So he has he just had one in Laredo. He had a meeting and greet in Laredo. He's having one in San Antonio, I believe, either next month of July. But either way, there is one coming to San Antonio. And the good thing about it is they're reasonable. Sometimes they're free. You get T-shirts, autograph sessions with him. If you want to read more about that and why he decides to do this, stay busy with the community during the offseason, you want to go to kensfi.com/Spurs right now. Also, it was a successful event for the Spurs this past weekend. The Spurs had a gaming day out at the Frost Plaza. Trey Jones was there. He played against some pro players and, some video games. A lot of fans turned up. It was a really good outing. Good to see the Spurs still remaining active and connected to the community via gaming. So y'all know I like the NBA 2K League. I follow it, so I write about it. I have guests from the 2K League here. Good to see the Spurs are reaching out to that population of Spurs fans that are like the Spurs, but also like gaming. So there you have it, another successful outing for the San Antonio Spurs. All right, there's your quick Spurs news and notes. When we get back, we're going to bring in our guest, Rudy Campos of Swoop the League. We're going to be discussing the sleeper pick. Is Salaün it? Should the Spurs grab him? Pros and cons, and then get to your thoughts, your comments you left on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Hey, I want to talk to you about Yahoo Finance, our sponsor today. Wouldn't it be great if you can use and see all of your investment and retirement accounts in one place? With Yahoo Finance, you can consolidate your views from multiple accounts into one hub and access the expert analysis you need to tend to your entire portfolio with confidence. Look, just go straight to the point here. You want your portfolio to grow, right? You want it to deal with the rising cost of inflation, pay off your debt, your mortgage, pretty much anything standing in your way of financial freedom, right? With Yahoo Finance, you get access to news, the data, the tools that you need in order to reach that financial freedom. When it comes to your financial future, you think you've done it all. You think you saved. You think you researched. You invested all you can. Now you can take those to the next level by using every financial great uses, and that is Yahoo Finance. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been a brand behind every investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor or looking to get that extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data you need in one place. They are the number one finance destination, producing a holistic look at the financial news cycle, breaking news, editorial perspectives, and analysis rating, independent research, customizable charts, so much more. That's why you got to go use Yahoo Finance. With a community of over 90 million users each month, their real strength is helping you on your way to financial success. For a comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com, the number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. Hey, I want to talk to you about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's number one fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. It's the easiest, most exciting way to get in all the action, to watch your favorite sports and players. You pick more than or less than 2 to 6 players or more player stats, and you can start watching the winnings roll in. Look, you can now win up to 10, and we'll make that 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball, hockey, so much more. Entries today on PrizePicks, America's number one fantasy sports app. Hey, they have, PrizePicks is basically the best way to get out of the action. More than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. What else they got? They got quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, enormous selection of players and stat types. That's what makes the PrizePicks the number one fantasy sports app. They even have weekly promotions, special offers for the biggest moments in sports. You got Apple Pay for quick, easy deposit to your account this basketball season. Look, what are you waiting for? Go to PrizePicks right now. Download the app. Use code LOCKEDONNBA. Get that deposit match up to $100. Again, you want to use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the San Antonio Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back on Locked On Spurs, joined by Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Just look at his t-shirt. It's going to be there the entire segments here. So go to that t-shirt's website, Sweep the League. Subscribe, check it out. It's a good show. Rudy will brag about that later on this show. Let's see what cap he's wearing today. He's got the Blue Jays?
Yeah, Toronto Blue Jays.
Is that the Blue Jays?
Yeah, Toronto Blue Jays
right.
is who it is. So just, background, the San Antonio missions, obviously in San Antonio, there was a coach, Cito Gaston, from back in the days from San Antonio. I met him a couple of times, and, it's actually it's a really cool guy, really good guy, Cito Gaston. So manager for the Toronto Blue Jays. I like the Blue Jays as well. I mean, they had a really good team back when I was growing up.
Yeah. See, Rudy would always find some connection to San Antonio. Somehow, some way, he'll find it. And that's what you get on, and more on Sweep the League. Follow Rudy on X at Sweep the League. So why is Rudy back? Well, you've been following on X, and you should, and you've been listening to hear him on Locked On Spurs. He's been hyping up somebody a lot. Like, look out for this kid. Look out for this guy. I'm not saying. I'm just saying, Tidjane Salaun, French kid, that Rudy has been really on the bandwagon, about this guy, possibly a sleeper pick for the Spurs. Rudy, I looked up a little bit of his background. First thing that jumped right out of my ground to me is that he's a kid, 18 years old, but he is a player in a position that the Spurs need. Swingman, forward, power forward. Why are you hyping this guy up? Why is he this sleeper pick you think the Spurs should really take a look at with either pick 4 or 8?
Yeah, in my original mock draft, Jeff, that I released with you and talked about, I had him going to Oklahoma City at number 12, and it's kind of where he's still projected, but I'm hyping him up a little bit more because he is 18 years old. He's measuring, I think, about 6'9", 6'10". He's improved a lot on his shooting, especially from 3-point range. He still has to improve it on it as well, but a very athletic kid. He's versatile, can play just about any position on the court. His off-ball defense is really, really good. Follows guys around, especially in the transition. He can keep up with anybody. A real hustle guy. Reminds a lot of people with the talent coming out of France. It reminds a lot of people of maybe a poor man's Giannis eventually. So just imagine that, just with an improving jump shot coming into the league. Right now, you're talking about a comparison. If you looked at him right now, you're looking at maybe like a Chandler Parsons type of player as is right now, which isn't bad. Chandler Parsons, without the injuries, was a very good NBA player. So I like Tidjane Salaun out of France, and I'm hyping him up because he is a guy that can fill a position for the San Antonio Spurs. Now, where would he fill in? He kind of fills in that Jeremy Sohan, position. What I like about this as well is that you don't expect a lot from Salaün coming in. You can kind of do a stash and draft type thing. A draft and stash type thing with Salaün because of Jeremy Sohan. You give him another year. That gives Salaün another year in France to participate in everything he's got to do and improve his game. You can even throw him in the G League if you wanted to. I know people are really upset because I saw the comments. Why are you going to draft a kid like this for a draft and stash type thing in the top 8? Yeah. It makes a lot of sense because you don't want to really rush this process. I know you got Wemby. I know you want to win now. But if you're going to have an off season where you're bringing in a couple of veterans, especially maybe a star, you have the ability to kind of draft this kid and just kind of stash him in the background for a little bit.
I'm looking at some of his stats right now, and you're looking at, what he did in France. He played with the 2023 FIBA Under-18 European Championship team. Mm-hmm. He helped France reach, fourth ranked. So he got him up to the fourth ranked team in that title or that championship run there. Now, in I believe his senior year at Cholet, I think I'm pronouncing. By the way, French listeners, if we're butchering these French names, just let us know. 10.1 points per game, 4.1 rebounds per contest with Team Cholet. And it seems to me after that performance, that's when he decided to, I'm going to take the leap. I'm going to try to go for the NBA. He says, quote here in an interview, he said, it's just a logical next step for me. I learned a lot of things on the, hang on here, ads are everywhere, off the court this season. I'm ready to take a big step now for the next level. So he feels that he is definitely ready. And look, I get it, NBA, all kids dream of that. As a matter of fact, he even said that, quote, the NBA has always been a dream of mine, but recently it became a goal, he told ESPN. It seems to me he's climbing the ladder in a lot of mock drafts and that he's putting on a show at the combine. He's opening eyes. But Rudy, do you think this is more smoke and mirrors for the Spurs? ESPN has the Spurs picking him at one of the 4 number 8 spots. You think smoke and mirrors because this team has repeatedly been reported to be looking at Ricochet a lot more. It just feels like a game. Yeah, we're looking at Salaün, everybody, and goes and get him, and okay, we got Ricochet. Why does it feel like he's just not ready yet? That's the vibe I'm getting.
Well, you're completely 100% right. As his right now, he's not ready at this moment. So I can understand a lot of people's gripes about drafting an 18-year-old kid who's not ready to play in the league. I totally understand that. But let's put it this way. If he waits an entire year coming into the 2025 draft, he's probably not going to be a lottery pick with the kind of talent coming out in that 2025 draft. So that kind of tells you how next year's draft is playing out. It's best for him to go this season. He's actually turning a lot of heads. He's opening a lot of eyes on his workouts. So he's pretty much guaranteed to be a lottery pick this season. If he has an impressive season for France next year and decides, hey, I want to come into the 2025 draft instead, you're looking at a potential top 10 minimum type draft here. But again, he's in this year's draft and it's a weaker draft. So I think his position is correct. Go into this year's draft. Get to be a lottery pick. You guarantee that lottery money, which is everybody what is trying to get right now. And hey, it's for the San Antonio Spurs. One bonus is the day after I was on Locked On Spurs, Jeff, you had one player who everybody looks at, Victor Wembanyama, singing praises about Salaün and his work ethic and that he will work to become a great NBA player. So that's why I mentioned his name on the last Locked On Spurs, and I kind of mentioned his name as far as Twitter or X goes and started talking about him because it's definitely the guy on their list. Let's not beat around the bush. He is a guy on their list because he does fill a need for the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah. Yeah, according to a report via ESPN, a lot of NBA execs are heading to France to continue watching him develop ahead of the NBA draft. He's going to be playing, I guess, in the French League quarterfinals. But in the last game he played before heading to the Combine for Cholet, he put up 19 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal in a win. Game 1 of the French League playoffs. He also shot 8 for 13 from the field, 2 for 5 from the 3 line. Again, it feels like whether the Spurs or whoever, it's definitely going to be I want to say a drafted stash. Would you say kind of a red shirt situation, Rudy?
Yeah, I think so. It's a red shirt situation. Perfectly put. If he gets drafted in probably an 8, I don't see him going number 4. I mean, I really don't see him going number 4. It's possible, but I don't see him going 4. I think if he's there at 8, they end up taking him at 8. But it's a good thing you mentioned the red shirt because, like I said, you still have an insurance policy in Jeremy Sohan, so you don't have to rush Salaün into the league, kind of like people are expecting him to be. Let him develop. It takes time for some international guys. We didn't see Nikola Jokic become MVP overnight. It took him a little bit of time. We didn't see Giannis become an MVP. Hell, Dirk Nowitzki wasn't even an MVP candidate for a couple of years. So a lot of these guys coming in, especially a lot of these taller guys, these big athletic guys coming into the league, they're not going to compete right away for these big time minutes, be these game changers right away. It takes a little bit of time. And actually something with Salaün, that's time is something that the Spurs have right now, I think.
Yeah. According to a lot of the scouting reports, he can handle the ball in transition. He can finish at the rim. He can drive. He can crash the board. He can defend multiple positions. According to some stats from the Combine, he has a 7'2" wingspan.
Yeah.
So, he definitely could cause some havoc on both ends of the court. But you mentioned one name, Sohan, there's that. There's, do they give more playing time to City Sissoko next season?
Mm-hmm.
There's that. The Spurs roster could look different. Maybe that opens up an opportunity. I feel maybe some G League time will be on Salaün's schedule next season if the Spurs or whoever drafts him.
Yeah, definitely could get some G League time for whoever drafts Salaün. It's almost a guarantee he's probably going to be in the G League, in my opinion. But more than anything, you mentioned great names, and like I said, Sohan and Sissoko. These two guys are probably the next man up when it comes to Spurs. Jeremy already there, but with Salaün, it makes a lot of sense. Let's not forget he shot 38% from 3-point range in France for the season. So that is better than what you've seen Jeremy shoot from, beyond the arc. That's better than a lot of these other guys on the Spurs shooting beyond the arc. So it's nothing but plus sizes for a guy for his height. And also, remember, a lot of people aren't a fan of Zach Collins as well, but they need size. And Salaün brings a little bit of size at 7'1". He needs to get a little bit bigger, but in any sense, it could open up a lot more for guys like Wemby in the future, as well as if Devin's still around, a couple of other guys too.
I mean, as far as the scouting reports have, I like what I'm reading. You're reading the buzzwords like athletic, plays hard, toughness, stuff like that. I saw a video of him play before we jumped on, and he definitely has a motor on him. He's very, nonstop. He's all over the court. And defense is something the Spurs desperately need, as we saw last year. Look, you got Wemby there, but we know the situation when Wemby left the court. The Spurs are one of the worst defensive teams in the league. According to another scouting report here, they call it, quote, Salaün's intensity allows him to be a disruptor on defense. So Popovich will definitely love to have that.
Oh, yeah.
So, but again, this could be youth, though. A lot of reports or scouting reports should say he tends to gamble too much. Might want to do too much, and commits to silly turnovers or gamble on defense. Yeah, I mean, I like what I'm seeing on video. I like what I'm hearing these scouting reports, but the shooting is definitely not consistent, is it?
No, and that's one of his biggest knocks is shooting. He's got to get consistent from the field. Definitely can score the ball, but he's not a major scorer. So that's what's going to take some time. He's got to he's kind of like a tree. He's got branches everywhere. He's just got to piece it all together and grow out, make it, make an NBA career for himself. But definitely shooting the ball is something that he's got to improve on 100%. But as far as the gamble goes, I mean, the knock on a lot of these prospects coming out in 2024 is on the defensive side. I mean, a lot of these guys, they struggle on the defensive side. They take a lot of risks. They're not really good on ball defenders. They kind of get blown by, their opponents kind of blow by them and stuff. So I think defense is probably something that a lot of teams are going to overlook. And in most cases, it's going to be best player available. And if he's the best player available that they feel at that time, then I'd say, okay, that would be a guy you want to get in Salaün. But also keep in mind, with his rise on his draft status, you could potentially see that pick being traded, because some teams may give the Spurs not a full ransom, but they may give him an offer they can't refuse for a guy like Salaün at number 8.
Yeah, and also too, it looks like some mocks don't have them even as high as 8. They got them in their early teens, right below 10. But look, the Spurs drafted Josh Primo early in the round. When many projected him to be a late first rounder at best. Yeah. So wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs were to pull the trigger and draft Salaün. Overall, though, before we hit the break here, is he a sleeper pick for any team? Is he going to be a pick years from now? Teams will look back and say, what were we thinking? He was on the board and we passed on him.
Going through the list, I would say a team like Washington, number 2, maybe the Pistons at 5. You could maybe see the Hornets, the Blazers as well. So a lot of teams before the Spurs at 8 could definitely take him. I actually, like I said, I had him going to the Thunder at 12 because, again, with the Oklahoma City, they've got their core intact. They can do a draft and stash with Salaün and not even miss a beat. So if he drops to the Thunder, I really feel like the Thunder are going to take Salaün and just kind of like, hey, it's a Sam Presti team. He's a former Spurs guy, so he knows all about drafting and stashing guys, and that would be perfect for them because not only does it give them another young guy to go alongside a guy like Chet Holmgren and the other Jalen Williams, it just allows them to develop even more. And like I said, imagine if, he ends up hitting that ceiling, like we said, where he's kind of like a Giannis type player. Joining a team like Oklahoma City that just makes him even crazier. So sleeper, I would say he was a sleeper before last week. And then, now he's getting a lot of looks because of combine work and workouts and stuff and the way he's playing overseas. I don't think he's a sleeper very much anymore.
Yeah, it looks like some reports have it that once he's done playing with Cholet in the playoffs, he's going to reconvene with the draft process and meet with execs and scouts, and they have those workouts that everybody's going to be writing tons of articles about very, very soon. This person worked out this person. What does this mean? Wouldn't be surprised if Salaun's name pops up as one of those private workouts in San Antonio. All right, when we get back, we're going to continue our chat with Rudy Campos. He's going to tell us his revived mock draft. An interesting name has slipped in his, and then talk about you guys. What are y'all talking about over at Locked On Spurs YouTube page? Hey, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. Right now, it's winner take all in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, listen up. If you're new customers, you get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. You heard that right. $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. And look, you can bet on spreads, money line, player props. There's so much more futures. I mean, pick something that you want to have fun with. FanDuel has your back. So look, Spurs maybe they're not in the playoffs, but it doesn't mean that the NBA playoff action is fun. The conference finals are right around the corner. Soon it'll be the NBA finals. And football's around the corner. MLB's in full swing. But you want to go to FanDuel right now. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make every playoff shot count. Again, FanDuel.com/lockedon. Go there right now. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And we're back on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. Rudy, I'm so sorry. I forgot to do something for you.
Oh, I know what it was.
I forgot to put your intro music. So everybody, I apologize to Rudy. As always, we give him some little intro music. I dropped the ball, so let's make up to him right now. There's Rudy's intro music. Here we go.
The music.
He'll start playing. There we go. I'm waiting for Rudy to just doing the Hulk Hogan and rip his shirt like that.
Oh man,
I'm proud of that.
I've only got one of these, so I gave a lot of them away. So I need to keep it for a minute. But when I get another one, I'll rip it on Locked On Spurs.
Please don't do that.
I have a shirt underneath. Don't worry. I'm not bare chested.
He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. You see it on his T-shirt. Make sure you Google that right now and subscribe to Sweep the League, and he'll brag about that in just a few minutes. All right, we got his intro music out. Yeah, my mistake. I knew I was missing. I was forgetting something. But Rudy, before we get into fan comments, you want to quickly revise your mock draft. A notable name has slipped in your mock. Who's that?
Yeah, so I'm just going to give you my revised board for the San Antonio Spurs right now. And Nicole Topic is actually dropped down to number 4 for me. Now, people say maybe it's because of the injury. That's a little bit concerning for me. But with some workouts and some combines and some videos that I've been actually looking at a little bit closer, there's 3 guys that are rising above Nicole Topic, one of them being Tidjane Salaun, who I have at number 3 for the San Antonio Spurs, but the top 2 guys that I have San Antonio needing to must look at. Number 1 is Dalton Connect out of Tennessee, shooting guard. This guy's a baller, man. He can score, he can shoot, he gets to the basket. He does everything you want out of a senior in college. What is the last time the Spurs took a senior in college? Was it one Tim Duncan out of Wake Forest? So we know how seniors work. David Robinson was another guy who graduated from college. Dalton Connect is a guy that can come in right away for the San Antonio Spurs and contribute, Jeff. He can actually be a starter for the San Antonio Spurs. Great shooter, can shoot the 3 ball with no problem, can get to the basket, creates his own shot. Again, is it the defensive side? Yes, it's the defensive side to be a problem for everybody. Dalton Connect, number 1 on my list with San Antonio Spurs. Number 2 is Stephon Castle out of UConn, a raw talent out of UConn. Yeah. This kid can score. This kid can defend. He needs to work on his jump shot, but what we saw from the combine, and I get it, it was not against competition. He can create a little bit off. He can work on that jump shot a little bit more. But his shooting was great, man. His shooting was fantastic at the combine. Again, wasn't with the defender in his face. I totally understand that. But again, he's working on his game. Stephon Castle is an explosive type of guy. So those are my 1 and 2 for the San Antonio Spurs. They obviously fill the guard position that the Spurs need. Both of them. Castle can play the point guard. Dalton is more of the shooting guard type. He's 6'6". Castle, I think, is 6'7". But those are the 2 guys that I have 1-2 right now for the San Antonio Spurs. Topic has dropped to number 4 for me. Either way, I mean, if they both fill the position for San Antonio easily.
Yeah, no, I'm with you right there. In my book, Topic has slipped because of the injury. He's 18 years old, and he already had 2 injuries to the same left knee. The last thing you need to hear is a chronic knee injury, or he's out again, or load management, or look at this. That's a little concerning now. The second injury to the same knee wasn't as bad as it looked. If you saw the video, it looked bad, but apparently it was just a sprain, and he did go back to the court. But still, if that puts me and you at pause, it's got to put some scouts on pause too a little bit. But I'm glad you brought up point guards. Let's talk about Locked On Spurs fan comments. And I don't know. I mean, you know which one I'm going to bring up. You want to go? You want to start out with point? We'll stick with point guard. We'll stick with point guard because they're both comments about point guards. One is kind of reasonable, and the other one is no. We're not going to go there. But let's dive into it. All right. The first comment we have up is from, I had it here a few minutes ago, and of course, as always, I lost it. But here we go. First one is from Roberto Maldonado. He left a comment on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Make sure you go subscribe to that right now. He says, Spurs should kick the tires on Chris Paul, even though he's more likely to play for contender and offers a larger role. You know what? Thank you, Roberto, for that comment, by the way. You know what, Rudy? If it's a rental situation, sure. If it's a rental thing, like, hey, just be a Band-Aid, Chris Paul, till we get these kids up to speed, whether they draft, like say, whatever, they draft a Topic, whatever, or Castle or Connect. Hey, we get these kids on board. Now we have a Chris Paul on board, even if it's for a year, teach them what it is to survive as a point guard in the NBA. You've been there, you've done it, Chris Paul. You had deep playoff runs, you've been in tight series, you know what it takes to win. Do it. But what will kill it for me, though, if the Spurs give him a Paul Gasol type contract, at the end of his career, what are you doing, Spurs? Why'd you give him that contract to Paul Gasol? That'll be it. But ultimately, I don't think the Spurs will come to Chris Paul's door knocking, and I don't think Chris Paul will come to San Antonio's door knocking. But I wouldn't be mad if it was a reasonable thing.
I believe going into the offseason, Chris Paul is going to get a phone call from the San Antonio Spurs, just kind of seeing what his thoughts are. Because if he gets no interest from any other team, which I highly doubt, I know there's going to be a contender that wants him out there. But if he's not getting any type of love from any other team, I could see him coming in on a 2-year deal with the team option on the second year, just basically a 1-year rental. If you do great, we can give you, a better deal, maybe more money towards the end of the contract. It wouldn't surprise me if they make the call, but it would surprise me more if he ends up signing for the San Antonio Spurs. I would definitely kick the tires if the deal is right, but you're correct, man. A Paul Gasol type deal, a Richard Jefferson type deal from way back then. I mean, something like that for a veteran towards the end of their career, it's something you've got to really pass on 100%.
Absolutely. Thank you for that comment, Roberto. We appreciate it. We'll stick with the point guard theme, and next one up is from James Edwards. Now, Rudy knows what he said. So
this former Detroit Piston, James Edwards?
What is it, Buddha? Maybe it is. Could it be Buddha? It is Buddha. We appreciate you. All right, James, I appreciate your comment, first of all. Thank you for leaving a comment. But I don't know. You have time to edit it if you want to. But he says, Rudy, the Spurs aren't getting Trae Young unless they give up Wemby.
Mm-hmm.
Now, James, that's a little far-fetched.
Yeah.
I don't think that scenario in any multiverse, other alternate universe, other Spurs timeline would exist unless in that other alternative timeline, Wemby is a bust. But I think the Spurs will just laugh at Atlanta's GM or whoever it is, hang up the phone if Atlanta were to request that. Rudy, do you want to educate James that he needs to put the brakes on that comment?
Well, I'm going to defend James a little bit and say I think he was kind of just being, funny about it because obviously it's not going to happen. And he's kind of basically saying that Trae Young's not coming to San Antonio. But at the same time, it's coming from the guy that has said, I will take a phone call on anybody, even, Tim Duncan.
You have said that many times.
I've said it before, so I would take the call and abruptly hang up, say thank you, but no thanks. But, yeah, the Trae Young to San Antonio talk, is it me, Jeff, or it's just completely dying out? I mean, it's something
cooling off. It's cooling off. I mean, there's been multiple reports now that the Spurs are not interested or not even taking a flyer on him. So it looks like it's slowing down a bit.
Yeah, it's slowing down a lot. And, again, thank you for the comment, James. It's a comment. Like I said, you want to comment, you left a comment. We're going to get to it. But, yeah, definitely a Wemby for Trae Young. It's not anywhere near. I think your best bet is probably at most getting Devin Vassell in the trade. I mean, that's probably the absolute most you're going to get from the San Antonio Spurs. Maybe some draft picks as well. But, no, a trade for Wemby. And it's kind of funny because the only reason Trae would come to San Antonio is to play with Victor Wembanyama. So to get traded for him makes no sense whatsoever. They would kill that deal in a heartbeat. But, again, the Trae Young to San Antonio talk, it's coming to a complete halt. It was hype is what it was. And it was cool while it lasted for the fans that wanted Trae in San Antonio. But I just never saw it from day one.
Yeah, and also too, Wemby and him were hanging out at All-Star break, and he's putting Instagram photos of him in his silver and black colors. So a lot of fans are feeding into it, but yeah, it just feels like it's dying out little by little as every day happens. Who knows? Maybe it's again Spurs being the Spurs and being coy and secretive. But as of right now, already 2 reports have come out that Spurs Trae Young, deal probably likely is not going to happen. I mean, one was strong enough to even say the Spurs have no interest in him. So there's that. But as always, we thank y'all for leaving comments on Locked On Spurs. We appreciate it. And keep them coming. We need the help. It's the off season. And we definitely use some topics of discussion. And so far, we got 2 good ones right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, Rudy, we see your T-shirt. What is Sweep the League? What's going on? Tell us what we need to know about Sweep.
Yeah, so Sweep the League, you can basically, we've got a YouTube channel. I'll be sharing it out on all the social medias. I'll go ahead and tag Jeff in it so he can retweet it out as well. Follow our YouTube page. We've got a brand new YouTube page going up. We're getting ready to kick off the rebrand of Sweep the League. We're covering all sports 100%. It's myself. It's Derek Irvin. It's Coach Gio. We'll get Jeff in there for some Spurs cheese, man. We just got a lot going on. We actually got some interviews lined up as well, all the way from the bowling world, which is crazy, but it's professional, To a couple of former Spurs. I can't really say who yet, but we've got a couple of former Spurs lined up as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun with the draft kicking off, coming up for the NBA. We're going to do a lot of draft talk. NFL season starts getting kicked off here August for preseason and everything. So definitely tune in to Sweep the League for all your sports needs.
Sure. And follow Rudy on X. You see it on your screen at Sweep the League. Do that right now. There you can see all the information that you need to subscribe to Sweep the League. Rudy, I still got to make it up for you for getting your intro music. Let me find it real fast. We'll have your intro out music. There's your intro out music right there. There it is. All right. So we messed up one. We usually get him intro music in his first segment. We forgot that one. We did the second segment. So we'll make it up for it in the final segment here. Again, he is Rudy Campos. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get a podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes. The list goes on and on. We'll be back tomorrow talking all things silver and black as the offseason continues. Maybe get some NBA playoff talk, just to change it up a bit. And subscribe to Locked On Spurs on the Ken's 5 Plus app. I think I did mention on YouTube as well. Hey, by the way, Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel, only on YouTube. Follow that right now. So for Rudy Campos of Sweep the League, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.